And we're back with the second half of this session. Is this the third session of this
This
episode?
is this is our third session
Third
of
Third
session of
session.
this episode.
episode 4, uh, which is called Stormfront.
Stormfront.
And I believe we have actually seen the storm.
Oh, that
Right.
crazy hellscape. That was the
Yeah, dude.
storm.
It was
Shit.
yeah, it alluded to it. I mean, in a
Great.
way. It
Just
also alluded to the Shadowfell, which I was super excited about.
yeah, about that. That's creepy.
That
I
is.
did get a
Thanks a
sort of
lot.
Stranger Things vibe when you were describing the
Very
giant
much.
people.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to the Shadowfell.
I was definitely like, this is. I had the Stranger Things image in mind, with how in Stranger Things it's all those like big chunks of just stuff floating in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the big mind flayer creature for sure.
So
I haven't seen
Egner's
Stranger
gonna
Things,
call.
but it makes sense that because they have D&D as a whole part of it, so
Mhm.
it
Oh
would make
yeah,
sense that the upside down place or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Upside
that's what
down, yeah.
Egner's gonna call
Probably the
it.
Shadowfell.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely is.
Absolutely.
They actually talk about it in the first season about how they compare it with one of their teachers about the Shadow Realm in AD. I talked to him about it. It was pretty cool.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so I didn't know that. But yeah,
Yeah, man, you got to go watch it. There's a lot of D&D language in the way that they approach the situation, especially when you consider they call the main monster in the first season the Demigorgon,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they call the monster in the second season the Hydra something.
Mind Flayer.
No, the Mind Flayer was just an
the
episode.
Vessel Hydra.
Yeah, Thessal
Something
Hydra.
like
The
that.
Mind Flayer was just an episode name.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. But anyway, what about our episode?
What about our episode? Our episode's name is Stormfront. Is
Yeah.
that what you know?
So what about what's going on in Storefront right now?
Oh, that I made a not so subtle nod to a Jim Butcher book when I named this episode.
No, I'm like trying
Oh,
to get
that's
us
not
on
what you
track.
mean.
No, that's not what I mean.
I know. Okay, let's get back into the game itself. You guys had agreed to help Ethel uncover what artifacts artifact is in this town. That all she's really gotten is kind of the whispers of it. You know, she doesn't know what it is, where it is, what she's looking for. She just knows that the people in the town are dreaming about it, or rather, their dreams are affected by it. Uh, is there any need for us to continue the conversation in the side room, or should we move on?
Uh, if no one else wants to have a conversation in there, I'll probably like try and have a little side conversation with Ethel as we're walking out of the room.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, we can move on to that, where feeling, I guess, satisfied with the fact that you're under Ethel's control now, at least as far as he's concerned. The guard who was slighted by Onn will get up and leave, taking the other two with him as he goes. So you no longer have, dwarven guards kind of, I guess, escorting you everywhere. Uh, you guys step out into the common room of the Drunken Pony. Uh, there is a decent number of people here. Most of them are working. A few are drinking. Amongst the drinkers is the hairy old man that On had punched in the face and then given money to. And yeah, you can go ahead and strike up conversation with Ethel as you enter the common room.
I'll try and keep it a little low, and I'm walking in by her side, and I'll just take a little side glance and say, when I was frozen with the gem, I could see both you and On, and you had a aura around you. It was colorful, like looking through glass, all these different colors of the rainbow, and it faded. What was that about?
Um, you are probably seeing the spell that I was holding you in.
Huh.
Being that I have actually never used a gem like this before, I can't be certain. Um, but that makes a lot of sense. I know that when we concentrate on magics, it does put off auras,
Hmm.
which is dangerous because there are creatures that eat magic. So when wizards are holding spells, it can attract them. These are creatures that travel through the ethereal plane. And I'll tell you, when you get an ethereal parasite stuck on you, it is not fun. It hurts a lot.
Oh, wow. Eigner just looks so shocked, and very disturbed on a level deep within him. Very disturbed.
She kind of unconsciously sort of itches herself, itches her shoulder, just like you would if you start thinking about something itchy.
I also saw Onn. He looked like he was covered in fallen leaves and had a robe of spider webs, and his hair was this different color. I don't understand what that was about either.
I'm afraid I don't either.
Huh. Well, perhaps I'll ask him.
He might know, he might not. These gems are very, very rare, like I said. You are seeing the true nature of the world in a way that only the beings who've created it really understand. As far as I understand, these sorts of gems, they go back before most of our civilizations existed.
Okay. In
Yeah,
that
these
case,
these are pretty ancient
yeah.
artifacts. I mean, it's not crafted by us. It's not even really. It's a diamond strung up on wire, pretty much. It's not a well crafted magic item. Not like your sword. It's just this simplistic thing.
Huh. Well, in that case, take good care of it. I'd like to have it back someday.
Eigner, you can trust that I will treat this like it was my own child. Better, in fact.
Very well. Thank you, Ethel.
You're welcome. She smiles at you genuinely, and then says, "Should we get some food? I'm a little hungry."
If you wish, we are at your disposal as far as I can tell.
Of course. Well, and we're also in a tavern, so we might as well eat.
Very well.
Alton, Onn, anything you guys would like to do in the tavern?
Not specifically.
No. I must say, I'm enjoying the fact that Eigner's basically got his own person to NPC to go with, because we had Eridu and I've forgotten his name, and I invented him. The elf
Vilren?
dude. Yes, Vilren.
Yeah.
Sort of buddying up on their journey north. We've had Okrim and what's face lady.
Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting names. I don't know why I'm forgetting names.
It's okay. I have a compendium of them right in front of me. So.
And now we've got Eigner and Ethel. I like it.
And I mean, from the beginning of Alton's inception, we've always had Alton and Domney. So.
Always.
Oh,
But I was gonna say, man, it's not like that. Ethel's like my parole officer, pretty much. It's not like that, dog.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, I would say no, because she's definitely warm on you, not hot for you, but she's definitely warm on you, and so.
Yeah, there's just a
she
power
likes you.
imbalance in the relationship
Yeah.
that is not.
It's like
productive,
a friend who's 5 years older.
Hold on a second, guys. Ethel has gone to take orders, and the three of you are sitting around the table right now. This conversation better be happening.
No.
No.
No. It will be a conversation that I think it's a conversation we'll have later, but not in front of her.
No. We all use Alton's telepathy, and we're having this telepathic conversation.
Well, it only works one way.
Alton is just having this conversation with Onn, where he's just yeah, and then Onn just kind of nodding.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So Yeah, I'll put in an order for some small finger food, and then I'll get down to business. I would like to um, push a few things aside on the table and pull out a small piece of chalk that I have and begin to sketch out a rough plan of the town as far as I know it. So it will be simply from the gate to the pub that we've been, or from the pub to where we are now, and that's all I know. And I'll stop drawing partway through, realize that that's all I know of the town.
So On has
Do
a
we
very
need more of a
firm
map?
understanding of the main road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need more of the town to be depicted? I think that's enough. That's enough for a map, isn't it?
I don't even know what you're trying to do right now.
I'm trying to establish where it is that we're going to be searching for these magical artifacts. It might
Well-
be worth getting a sense of scale. Do we know how large they are? Are they the size of a house, perhaps?
If you're asking
Ethel.
Ethel, she is not there. She is talking with the bartender and putting in a pretty lengthy order.
Well said, empty space where Ethel was.
It nods at you.
Oh, here. Then On and I are totally having that conversation
Oh yeah.
at, like not even including him in the conversation. We were having that absolutely 100% having that conversation about it's nice that Eigner has a friend, that he could spend time with. 100%. I thought she was there. I don't care if we talk in front of Eigner as if he's not there. I didn't want to put her in that spot.
Oh yeah, that's why I started with she's gone off to take to.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that somehow. Okay.
Okay, so
I know.
so if
What?
if Ethel's gonna come back to the table and hear anything, it's probably gonna be she's like my parole officer, man.
No good.
Do they sell fish here?
They do. You are close enough to the Twin Harbors that you still get plenty of fish.
Okay, then I'm going to order. I'm going to go. I want to go up to the. Actually, I kind of want to social interact this one because I think it would be funny in the dwarven town.
Sounds
So, I'm going to go up to the bar and kind of sit at the bar and say do you serve fish?
You say this to the back of a dwarf who has long red hair that's just kind of frizzing out in all directions and broad shoulders, and the shoulders are bare, and the muscles are the arms are pretty muscular, and from behind you're pretty sure this is a guy, and then as the dwarf turns, she also has a long red beard that's done up in all of these beads, these different types of stones, and it's all the light hits all the stones and shimmers in all these ways, and she's actually wearing like a low cut dress that's showing off her very ample bosom, and she looks at you and she says, "Well, hey, honey, of course we serve fish here."
Okay.
She slams a meaty hand on the counter and says, "My name is Wonder, by the way. What is yours?"
Alton. Alton.
Alton, you have a very pretty smile. And she gives you a wink.
Thank you. You have a nice beard.
I hope people get this reference. Very, very much hope people get this reference. She strokes it absentmindedly and says, "Well, thank you. It's taken me a while to grow."
Cool. So, fish. I want. For me, I'd like to have halibut. You guys have halibut? Like, what kind of fish do you have?
And she gives you a list of like 3 different types of fish.
Okay, are they like trash fish, like tilapia, or are we talking like good fish?
These are all just variations of salmon, pretty much.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I want kind of like a medium to small size salmon for myself, and then I want boneless for a larger boneless. Do you guys do boneless? Is this a thing you do here?
Oh, we can make the fish boneless. It'll take a little time.
Fine by me. And then roast the bigger one, saute the smaller one.
Yes, sir. I like a man who knows what he wants.
Okay, and then I kind of and I'm gonna be over there.
Oh,
over there.
I will find you, honey. She gives you another wink and then sets towards the kitchen.
Okay. And then completely oblivious to the fact that she's flirting with him at all. Just goes
Is she
back.
though? Is she flirting with him or is she trolling for tips? She is a
He doesn't know either way.
he doesn't know.
Yeah. He picked up on none of that. So then I go back and sit down. And then
right.
yeah. Oh, how much?
Doesn't matter. You can just do the whole money thing with the player's handbook. I'm not.
Okay, while you do, I'll figure out what I feel is appropriate.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So Ethel's put in the order and.
Yeah,
let's go back.
Ethel comes and sits down.
Yeah, she's like my parole officer, man. Oh. Hi.
That isn't a very accurate description of our relationship. I can only assume you're talking about me. I hope you don't have any other parole officers I don't know about.
No, Ethel. You're the only one.
I can honestly say I don't believe that. You seem like the type who drums up trouble wherever you go.
That's why I try to go as few places as possible.
Well described, Eigner. Well described. I didn't order you anything. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I
didn't know what you wanted.
wasn't hungry anyway.
All right. So what's this? She addresses the map Onn has drawn out.
This is a map of the town, as far as I have mapped it.
Ah, it's very limited. I'm pretty sure this is just the main road.
It is indeed. In fact, I estimate that it's less than a fifth of the entire town. I think that perhaps we need to either embark on a more comprehensive mapping journey or find someone who knows the town layout already. Ooh, is there, in fact, an administration office with a clerk with a map?
You know, I do not travel these parts very often, but I bet you can ask a town guard.
So then I come back and I sit down and I say, Onn, that's a shitty map, right?
That was mean.
I mean, it's like a fifth of the size of the town. Like, we need to get a better map than that.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Is there like a map making or like a shop in town or something like that, or like a town hall or?
I was just inquiring as to the presence or absence of a clerk. Ethel here was suggesting that we approach a town guard. I don't think that I would be particularly popular in that regard. But the main purpose of getting a map is so that we can comprehensively search the town for these artifacts.
Oh God. Okay.
Ethel,
wouldn't it be better like I don't know, to find abandoned houses first? Don't like things like that like kind of stick around abandoned or like super creepy looking houses, or like maybe rich people like artifacts, right? Let's start with rich people.
These are possibilities. What would you like to find? A town hall or a rich person?
No, I mean for artifacts. Like, let's just bust in on rich people and see if we can find the artifacts, right?
You're saying that we just start breaking into homes and looting them for artifacts?
Well, I mean, you're here, so no. I mean,
Look, Ethel.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm
Look,
just kidding. I wouldn't do
you,
that.
Ethel.
But we do need if the best place to go for an artifact, realistically speaking, legal or otherwise, is rich people. They collect that. They have the money to. Random schmuck, poor people who can barely afford to eat aren't going to have artifacts.
Look, Ethel. Do you actually have any more information in regards to this, or you just have a harebrained inkling that there might be a magic item somewhere?
I'm glad you asked. As it turns out, I might have a little bit of information based on the dreams that I've put together. Most of the dreams that I've come to have been dreams from people who. They are the dreams that have to do with loss and recent death. And most of them have to do with people either burying the dead and then watching as the dead return, or being visited again by the dead in their sleep. So I believe whatever this artifact is attached to, it's got to be close to some place that houses the dead, like a cemetery or something along those lines. The problem that you run into with dwarves is that they are very family oriented, which means every single dwarven family has a family cemetery.
I can see how this will be a job.
Right. It's problematic. It takes time. And if I knew the object, knew what it was looking for, I could just, with a map of the town, just find out where it's at. With a ritual, I just don't know what it is. Otherwise, this would be done.
Well, isn't that really hard to raise people from the dead after a couple of days or something?
True resurrection? Yes. If you're talking necromancy, though, that's the kind of thing that can happen pretty openly. The problem is that very few people really know how to do necromancy. It's not it's a well, I mean, it's an illegal art to begin with. And it's very much something that's difficult to learn properly. Because typically those things you bring back to life, they like to kill you.
Sounds disgusting to me.
Yeah, don't do it. It's a bad idea.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? So the things that I saw were like in our vision were zombies and like skeletons, right?
Are you asking out of
Everyone
character?
that we
Yeah.
thought were zombies and skeletons.
Yeah.
They did seem rather decayed.
So, but that was an illusion. So is that maybe you said maybe prophecy? So are we talking like the undead coming back en masse to destroy this town?
That could be. And what you said that the demon had a green eye, like a third eye kind of a thing?
Yes, and one broken horn, but he had two horns.
Huh. We might be looking for some kind of orb, or maybe we could be looking for this demon's horn. I'm not sure. I'm just spitballing things out there, but like something that's bringing the dead back to life is a possibility. Although we haven't seen anything like that in like really seen it, right?
No, I haven't seen.
Wait,
like,
hold on.
dead
So,
coming back to life, no. Like just the illusion magic. I haven't seen. No, because yeah, all we did so far, the only thing that we've done with the dead is we transported the dead body for a family, and we brought it back, no problem, no worries there.
Was the person recently dead?
Uh, yeah, I believe so.
And do we know if this family plans on burying them anytime soon?
I didn't ask. I didn't care. This was mostly a job because Onn needed money for like helping the city.
I mean, my dreams have been around the recently dead and burying the dead, and then them coming back. Maybe that would be a good place to start. If they're going to bury this corpse soon, maybe we should see if we can copy them somehow and see if that's going to give us any lead at all.
I am 100% with you because it was the Buffos, and anything that I can do to fuck with the Buffos is fine by me.
She kind of the Buffos. This is going to be very difficult then.
Make it difficult.
So you know them? You've been acquainted?
You've had dealings?
Well, yes. I mean, I've not personally had dealings with them, but my supervisors have, and they have a way of getting like magical things illegally and then selling them, and it's a mess, and it makes a lot of work for us, and it's really hard to track things that aren't kept properly, like, ledgered. So
I
Yeah.
imagine that would cause some difficulties in tracking things down. A thought occurs. Perhaps that's the very reason why they don't. Another thing occurs. If the body that we brought wasn't ready for internment, would that put a dampener on our plans at all?
What do you,
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
like, are they planning on keeping it until they can resurrect him? What do you
Or
mean by not ready for internment?
Do they do cremation or?
I simply mean that perhaps the state of Darius's grandfather is not quite as permanent as we initially thought. I'm not saying that he's necessarily a vampire lord drinking blood from the orc guard that we had journeying with us. But I would wager that perhaps we accept the possibility that something is amiss with his body.
You know, when you're that specific on, that scares me. I mean, it's kind of like when you say, you know, like, it's not like I've ever made out with a girl behind the Chili's. Like, that's way too specific.
Chili's is a very great dwarven chain restaurant.
I'm glad you brought that up, Asa.
But
We're making Chili's canon.
Yeah.
But on, if I'm
Chili's is
understanding you
almost-
right, you're saying that the Buffos are harboring an unregistered vampire.
Everything's unregistered to you. Everything's got to be registered. Everything.
Registered vampire?
Yes, everything has to be registered. We have to keep tabs of where magical items are going, where magical beings are at. If not, then we're going to get ourselves in trouble when the vampire lords decide to have a whole coup, and I'll have all these vampires spawn, taking over entire cities. How do you combat something if you don't know where it is?
Kill it?
Well, how do you kill it if you don't know where it is? We don't kill them outright. They're still living beings, but we do require them to follow certain laws.
I think perhaps we're losing sight of the real issue.
My
here.
head hurts so much.
I don't think Darius's grandfather is going to be buried anytime soon. How would we hope to gain access to the crypt? I'm sure there's going to be nothing happening regarding that whole potential hypothetical vampire debacle.
I mean, if undead is everywhere, and then we have an undead demon lord or whatever, then yeah. So
I can see where you're drawing the connection. Yes.
yeah, that's kind of a problem.
So I'm I don't even know what our first step is. And Eigner is gonna say, "I need a drink," and he'll get up and he'll go to the bar. And as he's walking to the bar, I'm wondering if he can perhaps have like one of those moments where you're just walking and it's really like in reality it's only like a second or two of time, but then in your mind it's like you make all these connections between all this disparate information and you make like a huge realization like because I'm thinking like so Egner was around for the orb thing, right? Like like I want the word orb. Ethel saying it could be an orb or something. Like
I do believe
you know,
Agner was around when the discussion of the Drow having some kind of magical orb or some kind of gloves that could let them travel through
well,
walls.
I'm skipping all the way to the part where the party stashed the orb in the
Only
town.
only Eridu.
Only Eridu stashed it?
Yes, this is
Oh,
a very.
you sneaky fool. You
I'm
sneak.
not saying it's that orb.
Yeah, that particular orb, only Eridu even knows
Okay.
where it is, or even know that it was an orb.
He was
We
the
just
only
knew it
one
was
of the
a-
player characters to be able to verify exactly what magic item that was. Yes.
Yeah,
But
Conveniently, he is somewhere both tired and hungry. Hopefully, one of those things has been dealt with.
hopefully.
probably horny too.
So in that case, the connection that Egner
No,
is
he's good on that front.
so in that case, the connection that Egner is able to make is that there was hypothetically an orb magical object that was going to be brought into Twin Harbor. Like that was made clear at that point in that episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, when he comes back to the table at whatever point in the conversation, that's something that he's itching to tell Ethel.
So, as he approaches the bar and has this moment, then he's like in the thralls of putting this together. A woman says to him, "Hey, honey, what can I get you? You look like you need a drink."
Is it the that one that Alton talked to?
It's Wonder, yeah.
It's Wonder. Egner will have just a slight twitch of a reaction, and as he snaps back to reality and takes in the beard and says, "Yes, I do. Is there perhaps a dark ale?"
Of course, dear. I love a man who knows how to drink.
Oh yes.
Pours you a beer and comes back with it and sets it down at the table as you exchange money.
Hmm.
She says, "I really am sorry. You look like you were in the middle of a really deep thought, and I appear to have interrupted that."
Oh no, it's fine, really. Just been a rough month, but my comrades and I appreciate very much the hospitality here.
Of course. Well, bartenders make some of the greatest therapists if you ever need to talk.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you. And I'll throw her a couple extra silver with the tip.
All right. She gives you a conspiratorial wink as she picks it up.
Oh wait, no. I just couldn't control it. I just did it.
Can't help it.
Can't help
Alright.
it. All right, I'll walk away awkwardly.
Yeah. Agner on Alton. We're at the table. We're No,
On.
on an Alton. There is no Agner.
Egner on and Alton.
So Wanda approached the table, did she?
No. Agner went to the bar. So he stepped away from the table for a minute, leaving
Okay.
the three of us with no Agner.
Okay. So we have creepy situation where we see a whole bunch of dead things rising. We have a dead man who's not dead and is likely a vampire. We also have strange magical artifacts that may or may not be where dead people are. None of this seems connected whatsoever.
She inadvertently fumbles with one of her pouches and pulls out the true sight gem and just holds it up to Onn. is like looking through it, and then she kind of like gets a look of disappointment on her face and puts it back.
Might I inquire, Ethel? What was that?
Something Agner and I were talking about, but I can't use the gem anyway, so.
All right. Well, what might be prudent for us to do is to approach the Buffos, ask where the grandfather was designed to be interred, and then search there, with or without said person involved. I personally would like to keep as much of a distance between myself and the vampire as possible.
That sounds quite safe. I think that, well, Alton, do you have any other suggestions?
I don't know. This is all. I don't know, man. I know dead things are bad. Apparently, they're not that bad. I guess that's
Oh, no, they're bad. You just need to keep tabs on them.
okay. Okay. And I don't know. I'm just gonna leave this up to you guys. This is all weird and confusing to me. So, yeah. You, I just gonna go with whatever, man. I don't even. I wasn't even supposed to be here today, man. um,
At that point, maybe Eigner comes and sits down with his.
Agner comes at the I wasn't even supposed to be here today line.
Yeah, Eigner, excuse me, sits down and takes a long swig out of the dark ale, and he looks over at Ethel and just, doesn't really know how to break into it, so just says, I have a weird feeling that what we're looking for might be connected to the Drow. There was a time in Twin Harbor that we experienced where the Drow came and garrisoned the city, and they were supposed to be bringing a magical artifact of great power. And I ultimately don't know what happened with it, but I think it ended up here somehow.
Interesting. Ethel, how far-reaching does your bureau go? Do you register simply with the Free Kingdoms, or are you a global phenomenon?
We are working on being a global bureau. Free Kingdoms accept us most openly, although the Empire does see our legitimacy. Certain places are resisting us, but we're doing the best we can.
And must ancient artifacts be declared also, or simply new devices created?
Ancient artifacts are one of the key things we're trying to get tabs on now, because we're finding that the older they are, the more dangerous they tend to be.
So Eigner may be correct that the artifact that we're looking for could be that Drow artifact.
Interesting.
Perhaps it was waylaid here.
What can you tell me about this artifact?
I was not present.
I can only tell you that we heard insane stories about it. I'm seeming to remember that my friend Eridu knew more about it than I did, and I just really wish he was here.
As do I. It would make this search a lot quicker, probably. It seems with his knowledge, we wouldn't need to play this guessing game. But, as it's morning, he is probably not sleeping. I don't think I can do any dream walking right now.
I don't know. Maybe actually you should try. Perhaps. I know it's unorthodox, but could work.
Okay. I'm going to need a quiet space. So if you think it could work, I'll rent a room. I will put some time into doing that. While I do that, why don't the three of you go and see to the buffets and see what information you can gather from them?
Okay. Um. All right.
The
So long
GM
as
does play all the important characters.
Yeah. It's Egner's just thinking about how they're gonna have to strategize and how he's just gonna have to talk to Onn and try and encourage him and everything that goes into walking into.
So I'm
this
gonna throw it
situation
out
with them.
here. It's probably not the greatest idea that I go along.
So long as I stay away from Brock, from the dead body, from the pub that we were just at, from the stables, probably the town. Like the town's creeping me out a bit.
It's look, guys. I don't like it here. As I don't like it here either. That's what I'm trying to say. But we're stuck.
I'll
we're
do
stuck
another
here for
mission.
now.
That's fine, but I'm kind of thinking it's not great for your negotiating strategy if the guy that threatened to kill them over 30 gold kind of isn't there.
I mean, do whatever you think is whatever you need to be comfortable. But I mean, we
I
need
don't
backup.
care.
We
I just
don't
want
know
you
what
to
we're going
know.
into here. Look, there could be. We got to think tactically here. There could be a vampire in the situation, and if that vampire decides to go ape shit, then I'm gonna need some backup.
Then how about this? Let's go ahead and do like a I'll be on the outside, and like if you need me, then I'll run in immediately.
Yeah,
But
sure,
I feel like
sure.
your negotiating power is definitely on the down if I'm there.
Sure.
Okay. So we need a code word that you can scream like a safe word or something.
I'll just yell your name
Like,
as loud as I can.
okay, that works.
Yeah.
I was gonna say cantaloupe, but that works too.
Nonsensical.
Okay.
Well, Ethel, I wish you the best of success. We'll shoot. Shall we just meet you back here as quickly as we can?
I will send you all a message as soon as I have finished my thing. If you're already here, great. If not, great. I'll be in whatever room they give me, so you'll know where to find me.
Very well.
All right.
I will be
Before-
right back.
He'll be right back.
Right.
Before we head off, then, shall we quickly strategize how we're going to approach this situation? We
Well-
plan on going back to the Bufo Run Inn
Yes.
Yes.
and asking for what?
Well, we need to find out the information of whether or not they're going to find a resting place for the grandfather, because we want to investigate that area. That would be like the easiest one for us to start in, and maybe we can find some information, find some clues, maybe even find the artifact itself if we're extremely lucky. And then we'll be done with this whole mess.
I'm sure it'd be relatively easy to get that information.
So,
Be the
Do-
best one to
do
approach.
they know that you know that we know about what I'm talking about?
I'm not entirely sure that they are aware that we are on the lookout for magical artifacts, but they may catch
I was
on.
talking about
we
the
approach them.
vampire thing on. I'm trying to,
Oh.
cause we're walking at this point. And I'm like trying to
Yeah.
be subtle about it. I'm like, not trying to yell about a vampire in the middle of the street right now. But do they know that you know that he's not just a dead body and that he's a vampire?
Brock is aware. I'm not certain about anyone else.
Ah,
All that they know, and by they I mean Brock and most likely his vampire lord and master, they only know that I'm aware that he's not entirely dead, and that Brock has wounds betraying the fact that his blood has been drained. It's on a less frequent than daily basis. Memory serves, I think it may in fact be a few weeks or months. Still, it's more frequent than I'd like.
so we may simply be able to play dumb. And I don't know what story we're going to tell them as far as why we're so interested in Grandfather Buffo's internment. But, well, I'm sure we'll have some kind of reason.
In fact, memories just come back to me. I recall now why I was so concerned about leaving here sooner rather than later. I think Brock was telling me that it's every new moon that his blood is drained. It's a new moon tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would
So,
like to be entirely done with this place and be moving onwards by that time. I hope.
So, like, is it just him every full moon? Is this like... Do they come to town because now we're looking at like a vampire, like they're setting up like a vampire village or something? Like maybe like a new vampire nation?
I think that's a little extreme.
I don't know. And the concept of it worries me greatly.
Well, I mean, again, if we're talking about how we saw the future, and the future was dead things everywhere, I mean, I'm gonna always come back to that because, I mean, that's the point, right? It's a vision of the future. That's what Ethel told us. Vision of the future, dead things. Now we're talking about a vampire coming of the future, and now I gotta wonder, is it one vampire? Is it a bunch of vampires?
Does anyone have any garlic?
Oh,
We need
Are
to-
you looking for seasoning?
no, we just. I mean, I read somewhere that garlic's supposed to help with vampires, and we might be walking into a den of them.
Oh god. Yeah, but I mean, no. You saw them in the day. We saw them in the day. Do we see them in the day? No.
Would I be able to make a religion check or history check? See what I
Baron
know.
Baron was out in the city street during the daytime. On saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you like to make a religion check for?
To see what I know of vampires in general, in terms of like strengths, weaknesses, that sort of thing, in an in-game sense.
You may attempt it.
Ooh, I rolled a natural 20.
All right.
And my bonus, I get +4 to religion.
Wow.
As it happens,
Stellar.
vampires are something that the Eladrin know quite a bit about, because vampirism is in some ways tied to the Feywild.
What? Whoa.
What do you want to know about vampires?
I would like to know. How many questions do I get? Like 2? 3?
I will put it to you this way. You can know what you think your character would know and justify it through what your character has heard. Does not mean that everything you know is truth, but definitely means that the place that your information comes from is in your mind pretty reliable. Also, you can know that the vampire page in my monster manual is torn.
Once again, we have access through D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond. do stuff.
Yeah, but I
They're
love
not
the idea of like the stat block being half vampire, half a unicorn.
No, it's not that bad. That would be pretty good though.
Okay. I would like to know that there's some legend involving silver, primarily that a silvered mirror smashed across a vampire's face managed to scratch him and left wounds that did not heal. So it might not be silvered weapons, it might be mirrors, in fact. And how they're made. I would like to know how vampires are made. So the general cycle of.
One of the main things that you know about how they're made is that a vampire biting someone does not automatically make that person into a vampire. That isn't how it's transferred, which is a common piece of misinformation.
I'm trying to remember how vampires are made now. These vampires created through like imparting some like twisted essence of the Feywild into them or something like some sort of ritual.
That sounds like information that you know.
Awesome.
Is it like Buffy vampires, or like are we talking like the Anne Rice vampires, or how are we vampiring?
They're Asa Kinney vampires.
They're Roll for Mischief vampires.
Roll for Mischief vampires.
I think we just created just made up how they're created, which has to do with twisting or perverting part of the Feywild in a creature.
Yeah, so something that's pure life force, pure essence of life, twisted and perverted to sustain that which is no longer living.
Whoa.
I like it.
That sounds like that's what's happening. It also sounds like the Misty Escape ability of a vampire is very much like the
Misty Step. Ah! Okay, making connections all over the place.
Yeah. So, we need to find a silvered mirror, and we need to make sure that he has no access to incense or candles.
Okay. I don't even know how we're going to handle this when we get in there. I have no idea.
Perhaps we could spread a rumor that all the incense and candle shops are out of stock.
What if we buy all the incense and candles?
A better idea. And that way, they shan't be able to perform any rituals whatsoever.
I mean, unless they've already bought a lot of them. But, you know.
Perhaps we could instigate some sort of geological event, like a heat wave. Ooh, perhaps more meteorological. Yes, something to melt all the wax of the candles, thus rendering them useless.
Onn, I do enjoy how you think big.
Yeah.
You
I
do.
think maybe draining the supply so that way even if they like use they only got so many times that they can like actually get like because if they do a spell or whatever a ritual, then it's probably the next time they try to do that they'll have to restock, or at least maybe they have one other time. I doubt that they were planning on having this town supply of candles and incense bought out.
That is if the designs of this vampire on this town is to transform the townsfolk into pure vampires. I do also hear tell that they like to create more controllable vessels, something in the way of a spawn, something that they can control and manipulate rather than have a separate entity that's able to act on its own.
Wait, so we're talking about a caste system for vampires.
Oh, so yes.
Do you know how super fucked up you big people are that even in death that you have a caste system? You have the rich and the poor? God, I hate you people.
Look, I had absolutely nothing to do with whatever you're complaining about, and we're getting closer to the Bufo place, and we need to figure out what our plan is. What are we even gonna ask them? What are we gonna tell them? Are we gonna bust down the door and say, "Hey, we're here to kill your vampire"? I mean, because it seems like that might be something we need to do. Maybe
I don't think we should lead with that. Perhaps concentrating on the artifact at hand. It may even be the case that whatever artifact we do end up uncovering is able to repel the vampire, if not outright destroy it. Might be
As-
worth getting a hold
as-
of it and using it.
As you're talking, someone there's a sound of pattering feet from behind you, and Alton hears it just in time to turn and see somebody a dwarven child running past, holding a box that looks like it's just too big for him to carry, which is it's probably about not to be grotesque, a little bit bigger than the size of a human head.
Mm-hmm.
And Alton, you're able to hear him coming and kind of tuck out of the way just so he doesn't run into you. And he kind of looks harried and sorry. He calls back as he runs past you, and then continues on down the street.
Okay.
What a curious.
And he was heading in the direction of the Buffos.
He heading down the street in the same direction.
Right. Okay. I don't think I would think too much of that. I think I'd be far more interested in the conversation. So I'm gonna let that go. Character knowledge versus player knowledge. So okay. What if you do this, right? I think trying to go with taking down the patriarch of a family that's a vampire may not be the best idea. Probably get some pushback, and it's 3 on at least 6 or something like that. And one of them is a vampire. So even if the other ones are putzes, we still have 5 putzes and a vampire. Plus the big dude, Brock. So 2 with 5 putzes.
We need to establish if the Buffo family at large is supportive of their vampire relative.
I'm gonna go with the patriarch, yes.
Well, there's so much secrecy around it, though. What if they don't even know? What if they think that they're just gonna be burying kindly old grandpa? And what if they don't even know that he's a vampire? What if the only person that knows is Darius, and that's why he has us, third parties that don't know anything about his family until now, to try and bring him over?
But they would know now, because kind of if he came out of his coffin and they supported him, they'd know he's dead because he came here in a coffin. Right?
Well, I don't even know what we're gonna do about the fact that there's a vampire. I don't even know what we
Well,
can
what
do.
I'm saying is maybe we can make a deal with them, to act essentially as the agents of this certification bureau, right? And kind of say, hey, look, we're brokering a deal here. We're trying to find this, and we're trying to do this. We're trying to get trying to find this artifact that is potentially devastating. We're aware of your vampire grandpa. If you will register him, because apparently that's a thing. And if they are willing to work with us for work with us with the artifact, then we can work with them on making sure he's safe or something. I don't know.
All right. Well,
That he's properly taken care of.
that sounds like a better plan than any of us have come up with. So there's Sven's head right there. How about you take the point on this, Alton?
Okay. The worst idea ever. Okay.
As you get to the door, it opens and the child that just ran past Alton goes running out the door, and like gives you guys a smile and a wave, like he recognizes you, um,
Right.
and then
He
runs
just
off down the
passed
street.
by us. Yeah,
Yep.
he just passed by us. So
Bye.
Yeah. Okay.
Is he too far away?
Not if you wanted to say something. No.
I'll say, boy, psst, psst, boy, come here.
He stops and spins around. Yes, sir.
He's quite small because he's a dwarven child, so I will clamber on down and try and get on his level, and I'll take out of my pouch a couple of silver pieces, and I'll say, "Don't." I'll give you these 2 silver pieces if you tell me what was in the box that you just delivered to them. 2 silver pieces can get you a lot of candy.
I didn't look in the box, sir. That wasn't my job. I just delivered it.
Can you tell me how heavy was it?
It was pretty heavy. Probably one of the heaviest things I've ever had to carry. It felt like it was a human head just rolling around in there, or a dwarven head, or maybe it was both.
Did you hear any noise, any jingling, or anything coming from the box?
No, it kind of went thud thud when I ran, but that's about it.
Where did you get the box from, child?
Oh, it's the funniest thing. I was playing by the gate, and then like this wind just whoosh, and there was a box, and it said delivered to the Buffos, and then on it was a large sack of money, a lot more than 2 silver. So I delivered it to the Buffos because that's what I was told to do, and I got a lot of money out of it. I'm gonna buy a lot of candy.
I'm sure you will. 2 more
I'll take
silver.
that 2 silver. Though.
Yeah, two more for you. I believe you've given us the information that we're looking for.
You're welcome. Thanks for the money. I'm in it. He just is ecstatic with all the smiles of children.
He's got so much money. I
Yeah,
think his money might disappear in a poof of smoke or something. It might happen.
Sorely disappointed when he finds out it's all leprechaun gold.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. He takes the silver, and if there's nothing else, he goes running off.
I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of any of this.
And I motion for Eigner to go in first.
Very well.
Okay.
All right. Eigner, you step in to the sound of arguing once again
Oh, great.
in Dwarven. Gerta is shouting and saying, "I'll bet it's from one of those whores that you visit every night." And Barn is going, "No, this is just a gift that showed up. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what you're talking about, woman." And they continue on in their bickering ways, and he, of course, accuses her of being drunk again, which, as you can see, there's a bottle of wine on the table next to where she's sitting that appears to be mostly empty.
Mm-hmm.
And Trekker is... Tekker, I keep calling him that. He is trying to get their attention, because you could see in the way that he's kind of dancing around and like fiddling with his sleeves, he's really looking to do the next magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the box in front of him.
For sure.
And
Okay.
he turns first when you guys open the door and goes, "Oh, hey! I want to show you guys something."
Tekker, I do not have the time for this. I need to speak to your mother and father right now.
Oh. Okay.
Is this your like big finale piece, or is this like your opening piece? Because we had this discussion, you know that, right?
This is the opening. It's not the best trick. It's my opener. I've worked
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
All right, so
Let's go.
I'm gonna push past Tecker and walk into the other room where they're arguing, or are they just right in front of us? Or
They're like just a few feet away from Trekker and the.
I'm watching
Yeah.
Techers.
Okay.
Tekker.
I'm watching
Tekker.
his.
So
Techers,
I'll-
Trying to get his name right.
yeah, it's all good. I'll push past Tecker and with like a 17 intimidation check, I'll just try and shout down the pair of them and just try and like drown out their shouting with shouting even louder, and
Okay.
just say like, "Quiet, the two of you! Makes me sick." Look,
Gerda just pours the last of the wine into her cup and takes a long sip, and Baron just kind of goes, "Why are you in my house again?"
I advise that you be careful opening that package. Did the delivery boy tell you anything?
No, just that it was a present for us.
Yeah, well, how he got a hold of it was very mysterious, and I'm not sure if you'll like what's inside, but open it if you wish.
He looks at you speculatively and says, and takes a step closer and says, "What's in this box?"
I don't know.
What's in the box? Sorry.
Tekker is though like seeing that he has an audience in Alton. It's like, now watch this, and he does and he then just you see his hand kind of go behind the wrist, this wrist of his sleeve a little bit. It's a little smoother than most of his other magic tricks, but then he just produces about a 3-inch long knife blade.
Uh-huh.
And it's so far actually the best trick he's managed to pull off, because he does it in such a way that you do start to question for a second, where did that come from? Like then it kind of hits you as obviously in the sleeve, but it at least was pretty smooth. And then he goes, voila, and then uses the knife to slice open the box.
Okay. So I go, you know what? Like what you should do is like do that and then like throw that at something, right? Like pretty impressively, and that's your finisher, or maybe a good opener. Either way, like that didn't suck.
Like this, and he takes the handle of the blade in one hand, and then goes and slings it at the wall, but then abruptly goes, "Ow!" and you can see a large cut across his palm where the blade sliced in.
Well, I mean, you can't suck at throwing knives, but I mean, you're in the right direction.
I've never done it before. Give me something to. I'm bleeding. And Gerda's up on her feet. Oh, go ahead.
The box,
I'll just grab his hand.
What is the box made of? Like, what has he sliced to open the box?
So like in my head it's cardboard, and I keep thinking it can't be cardboard. So I'm gonna say that that probably what he did was actually
It'd probably be like a thin, like particle board, like wood box, I'd imagine.
yeah, and he just used it to just like cut across the top or pop across the side so that whatever was holding it closed is loosened.
Yeah.
And it actually can pop open.
I will immediately, in a panic, quickly cast Mending to fix it again.
Okay. I would like you to make an initiative roll.
Oh.
Oh, just him? Or
Just him.
Just him? Okay.
Oh. I rolled a 3. That's now a 1.
All right. So this is not a combat. This is just a contest of who's acting first.
An event.
Because seeing the box is open, Baron looks at it and says, "Now it's time to end this mystery," and he pries open the top of the box. Just as you start casting Mending,
I warned him.
I
warned him.
which just has no effect because there's nothing specific to break. And Eigner, because you're close, you can see inside the box is the top of a helmet that looks a bit familiar. And Baron looks at you and looks at it speculatively and says, "So someone sent me a crown. Where's the big worry in that?"
A crown. I don't quite know what to tell you.
I know what to say here. You come into my house trying to cause another problem. Are you trying to shake me down for more money? This is just a gift someone sent me, and you're trying to make it seem like it's some big scare tactic. Is this a joke? Are you trying to play some practical joke on me?
It's no joke, and in fact, our business here is something entirely different than this. But this, here's the advice I'll give you, Baron. And don't ask exactly how I know this, but I know that your family has been in some very hot water with the ICSB. No, it's ISCB. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. International
ISCB.
Spellcasting Certification Bureau. Your family is been in very hot water with the ISCB, and if you want to have any chance of being in their good graces, you should probably get this item to one of their agents. Get it registered at the very least. Get it identified.
He kind of looks at you and then looks at the helmet and says, I could. Yeah. Probably should. But you know what? I could also just put it on. It's very
and then,
pretty.
Also, you need to. We've been sent to make sure that your father has been, or no, his grandfather, right? It's his father.
It's Baron's father.
Yeah. You need to make sure. We've been sent to make sure that to remind you that you need to that your father needs to register as a vampire, and then any artifacts you use to help raise him. Or turn him. I don't know what the word is. What's the politically correct term for making him into a vampire? I'm not sure. Either way, that needs to be registered, and anything else that you have should be registered. Otherwise, they're going to come down and they're going to start investigation process. And, you don't want any of that.
Sorry, we're doing something secret.
Yeah, I was listening, but we're doing that.
We're doing something secret.
Right.
And he kind of looks at you and says, what is this you're talking about my father? He's just a dead man. We're going to bury him tomorrow. Why would you register a corpse with anything? You accusing us of something?
He's a vampire. He's not dead. He's undead. And that's a magical entity. And a magical entity, apparently, you're supposed to, if you're a part of whatever bureau jurisdiction thing, you're supposed to register as a magical entity, is what we were told. Something I don't know.
Look, these are some very, very anonymous accusations you're swinging my way now. You're telling me that I've been harboring a vampire all this time?
I mean, Onn saw him alive, and he said something about your big guy, being the vessel of his feeding. I don't know. And he had a bunch of bite marks or something. And where is your guy, Brock? Where's Brock?
Brock is attending his own business right now, and frankly, I think that I've had enough of this. I've heard enough of your accusations and your lies. I think you should all leave right now.
Baron. Baron.
No, first of all, I've never lied to you. There are many things that I've done, threatened your life, extorted you, but lying is not one of them.
Baron, you need to hear me out. You cannot put on that helmet.
And why not?
Because I know that. I know that helmet.
How do you know a helmet? It's an object.
Oh, it's not just an object. It's a person. There's a person in there, and he talks to you. and he tells you nasty things. I had it for a while. I'm the one that recovered it from the Tomb of Forgotten Kings, and it left in a very mysterious fashion. And as I stand before it now, I hear it in my head, but I'm able to resist it. And I'm telling you this because I want you to resist it too.
Burn laughs. Ha! This is ridiculous. One of the most far-fetched things I've ever heard. But as he's talking, there's a knowing look in his eyes, and you can kind of tell that he's been hearing the voice too.
I know.
Then he gets
Yeah.
a firm look on his face and says, "You know what? I think there's only one thing to do to resolve this problem." And he picks up the helmet and makes to put it on. What are you going to do?
Well, I want to react.
I'm gonna throw.
And
I'm
I-
gonna throw a couple of my darts at him. Specifically
Well,
the names.
okay,
of
all
them
all
are-
three of us can't do shit at once. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
You took too long.
well, I mean, I need
Shall
a
we do
second
an
to think
initiative
about
between
it. Like,
ourselves?
is that an initiative thing or is like? Because I'll probably just trip him if I have the opportunity. But if Alton wants to throw darts at him, that's fine.
I'm gonna throw darts at his hand and essentially try to hit it so he drops it.
I'd like to use Gust to try and blow the helmet away from him. So
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do all an initiative round again and just see who comes out on top.
Not me.
I get a 2.
I rolled a natural 2 also, so I've won. I think that's actually Eigner's initiative should just be fixed at 1. Like I don't even roll because I always get 1 anyway, so he should just always have initiative count 1. That's what I think.
Yeah, I've just
14.
rolled a 4. so darts go first.
Go darts.
Okay.
Roll them darts.
Roll them darts. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, well, the first dart failed spectacularly unless he has an AC of 11.
He does
Um,
not.
Yeah. And the second one is an AC or is 15.
That'll hit.
Okay. And so it's just to make him like basically drop it. I don't know if you want me to do.
I'd like you to roll the damage.
Okay. Hold on a second. I don't actually have a D4 out. Sorry. I very rarely actually. I decided to only leave out my D6s because I pretty much don't use anything else.
Except in the moments that you do,
Well,
and then you need it.
Right.
I got D4 for you if you need one.
No, I got it.
Okay.
It's +4.
They're fun to roll.
7.
Okay. All right, your dart sticks into the back of his hand, and he fumbles with the helmet, almost dropping it.
Yeah.
And then he just looks at you with this furious face and his clenched teeth. Was your total initiative 4 on, or was that the dice you rolled before you minus your
The latter. So I rolled a 4 and it turns out to be 2 after
Okay. With this set look on his face, without a word, he slams the helmet on his head and says, "There, you see? Did anything bad happen?" And as soon as the words go out of his mouth, the metal at the bottom begins to melt and shape and dig into his throat.
Oh,
He starts to scream as the metal expands, tearing his head from his body. And as it does, the sides of the helmet begin to shape out and become bat wings. And as Baron's death rattle becomes a howl,
oh,
we are going to end the episode there.
oh my god, dude! I tried to tell him to take it to the thing because, like, that's the oldest trick in the book, the cursed item. It's like you never just just like take a cursed item. Oh man,
It's true.
wow.